We hope that you are enjoying the other. Yes, if any of you are still out in the hall, come on in. You're going to get started. So super excited to introduce our first speaker, Seven, as in Seven God, the Archivist, a visionary contemporary artist hailing from a vibrant city here in Wilmington, Delaware. He has carved out a unique niche in the art world with his captivating creations. Renowned for his spiritual art pieces, which he aptly refers to as his frequency language. Seven God's work serves as a powerful reflection of his journey as a mental health advocate. Ooh, somebody get the phone. Tell the phone. Having faced the challenges of a bipolar schizophrenia diagnosis, Seven God transcends conventional artistic boundaries to channel his experiences into thought-provoking masterpieces. In his artistic realm, he identifies as a seeker, a thinker, and a searcher of truth, a spiritual being acting as the messenger of truth, reality, and consciousness. Please give it up for Sam.
So, wow.
Is it echo?
Yes. Different.
Live in here, right?
So when I say peace, you say peace. Peace.
Peace.
Peace. The energy. Peace. Peace. Something else. So before I get started, this is something I have implemented in my life. It is called a safe space practice, right? And before I be vulnerable and tell you who I am, what I am, and why I am, I want to know honestly and transparently, is this a safe space? So when I ask the question, you say safe space. So I'm gonna ask, is this a safe space? Safe space. Is this a safe space? Safe space. Is it really a safe space? Am I safe to be myself? Am I safe to be unapologetically who I want to be? Is it safe for me to tell the truth transparently without you judging me? Is it transparently true for you to love me as I am and nothing more, nothing less? Safe space? Safe space. So one of my mantras is big energy. Big energy is a mantra that was created, it's a heavy one, back in 2018 when my 2-year-old was murdered. And when he was murdered, I walked to the casket and I seen myself. And I flipped out. You know, when he was born, I wasn't really a present father. I was a father for his other siblings, but when he was here, I was going through darkness. And I'm sharing this because to this day, I'm still grieving. I woke up this rising and I was grieving. People ask me how I'm doing. I'm on a cup, you know, with this being Black History Month that I don't celebrate, to be honest. I don't celebrate Black History Month. I celebrate my ancestors every day. I make sure I pour libation and I pray to the Most High every day. It's not a month for me. It's not a holiday for me. It is waking up in this skin is challenging. Waking up being a visual artist that is conquering my own self-love and self-care and healing through art as a Black man, whatever that even means. But in this reality, it means that I'm not okay to exist. So to be a visual artist is beautiful, ugly, inspiring, creative, depressing. It's everything all at once, creating chaos, love, peace, and prosperity, all while doing the hokey pokey. And big energy was created because I found that, you know, the Most High told me it's not guaranteed. You know, you're a visitor here. You're not really from here, but you can stay here for a couple of whatever. When I call you back, you gotta come back. And that message that came to me was everything I do is big energy. Big energy stands for your bigger inner God, your bigger inner greatness, your bigger inner gratitude, your bigger inner grace, your bigger inner genius. So when I say big energy, y'all say big energy. Big energy! Big energy! I love y'all. Since I've been coming to Tower Hills, it's been beautiful to be honest. I really feel different. I've never been embraced like this in my life. I'll be 32, March 6th. Woo-hoo. 32 years around the sun, and it just feels different to be who I am. And I'm grateful for your Tower Hill family. To come to a school that has 5 art mediums, you have no idea what that means. You don't get James Baldwin, Langston Hughes. You don't get those kind of leaders in public school that don't have art at all. I want you to understand that having a big art department, whoo, that's different, because for people like us that live in this body with this skin complexion, we need to be able to pour those things out. We need an outlet, whether it's music, whether it's fashion, whether it's dancing, whether it's football, basketball. I know sports have been a big thing for us, but we have other people that came from our history tree that created peanut butter and the hot comb. And I remember growing up and I remember having a black invention list. And this to me is been, to be honest, I'm really transparent about where I'm at. I don't lie and put a happy smile on everything's okay. Sometimes it's not. And I'm okay with that being what it is. But I want to thank y'all for holding space for me and welcoming me into the TH family. I love it here, not gonna lie. I definitely love it here. Before I play my visual, this visual was created a few years ago. I was fortunate enough to be in the Delaware Contemporary Museum, International Museum, and that was bittersweet. And during that time, I was invited during COVID. They were doing a lot of George Floyd in, and you know, the word inclusive came up a lot, inclusiveness, and now people wanted to sit at the table and say, "What do you want, Black people?" Whatever that meant. They invited me in, and at the time I was going through a lot, and one of my business partners, she tried to pour into me, but she couldn't. And the great thing about having a community is they don't always have the answers, but they have space for you. And my business partner helped me really muscle through a tough time. And in that space, I created this campaign called Buy My Art Before I Die. That campaign was created because I watched John Michelle lose his life going crazy over art. I watched artists go crazy and beg and beg and beg for the community to support them. And they died in vain, because most of the time they become famous after their death, you know? So I was feeling that energy. I said the campaign, I went around the city, started spraying "Buy My Before I Die" on the doors, and it was funny. Somebody wrote, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay." It was funny. I really like art for me was. I'm gonna let the documentary tell the story, but I'll say this, describing the documentary that it was a lot, and it was very beautiful. I want to warn you that there is maybe 1 or 2 cuss words in there. And I'm not going to judge anyone, but rap music cuss, and I'm pretty sure we cuss around our kids sometimes, right? So no judgment there, right? It talks about mental illness, talks about a lot of different heavy things, but in the midst of heaviness, there is light at the tunnel. So I ask you to be open, to be honest, to hear me, to not judge me, and ask questions. Please let me know how I make you feel. Be honest. If you hate it, tell me. I want to know if I get better. Do we have the film? Yes, okay. So I got one question. Do you want the film first or meditation? Which one? Meditation. Wow, I'm surprised. Okay, so what I point to you, meditation. All right, this meditation is 2 minutes and 22 seconds, 222. It is a divine number. This is from the EP that I recently put out called 777 Divine Ministry, and it is a documentary of my journey through healing, and I wanted to be able to hear myself. So I created an affirmation album That's coming out in March. Tomorrow, I'm having, the Big Energy Affirmation Healing Concert at the PMA, which is gonna be beautiful. But this track that you're about to listen to is called More Light, Less Human. And it is a powerful meditation. So when it starts, you can close your eyes, you can put your head down, you can leave them open, do whatever your spirit calls you to do. And then once that's over, we'll play the film and then we'll have time for questions. Cool? Big energy? Hit it, Johnny. Hit it like two minutes.
So that the that's first. Well, difficult environments such as this, because you become like goals to become more like which is very cool. So we appreciate you having us.
Ashe, I receive. You are rising in your power. You are rising in your power. Are rising in your power. You are rising to a place on yourself. Now, allow yourself to let go of fear. Allow yourself to let go of fear. And do that. I am in charge of my thoughts. I am in charge of my feelings. I am in charge of my thoughts. And I am in charge of my own feelings. And simply that, I want you to remember and honor your values. Remember and trust that process of not only your life, but the ones around you. Trust that you are divinely guided and divinely protected. Trust that you will be faithful because you are right in God. And you are focused, you are intelligent, you are confident and clear. Now ground yourself. Ground yourself in your protection and your love. And never let go.
Thank you all. Take that. How y'all feel? Oh. Be honest, how y'all feel? Someone give me a random word.
Go,
Ready to go?
where's go, where you going? Hard up.
The biggest.
The biggest. Everywhere. Yes.
You. Relax. How about you? Yup.
Empower.
Empower. Beautiful.
Wow. Better.
Center. Next to you, beloved.
There you go.
Yes. Strong. Stronger. I love that. Let me see. You. Happy. Great. Young man. What about you? I give you 2 more than 15. You.
One more. And too soon.
You'll see. You in the third day, Somebody have their hand on their face? Yeah, talk to me. Elevator. Elevator. Repeat after me. You ready? I am. I am present. I am focused. I am focusing on my presence. Today. Today feels liberating. I am free. I choose to be who I am.
who I am.
Nothing more,
Nothing more,
nothing less.
nothing less.
I'm carrying
I'm carrying
my energy
my energy
back home.
back home
My ancestors.
to my ancestors.
To my ancestors.
To my ancestors.
To my loved ones.
To my loved ones.
To my mom.
To my mom.
To my dad.
To my dad.
To my classmates.
To my classmates.
To the earth.
To the earth.
To the water.
To the water.
To the sky.
To the sky.
I am
I am
what I am.
what I am.
I am what I am.
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 I
I am what I am. 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 You are who you say you are because you are focused, you are genius, you are creative, you are activating everything inside of your DNA because the Most High said so. They said that my father has many mansions, but you didn't understand that within the body is many mansions, many cells, many things that make you beat, go, jump, flip, create, sing. You are living, breathing, activating God geniusness every single day. You breathe, woo, that's life. You smell, that's great. Woo, I can hear, thank God, I can walk. The simple things in life, we have to give gratitude because someone ain't walking today. Somebody not seeing. Somebody ain't even hearing or neither here or there. Be grateful. Be grateful, but don't be content. Be grateful, have gratitude, but don't be content. The table is looking empty. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the table over and say, we're gonna build our own table. This next phase and the next shift in this skin tone suit or whatever this is, it's us being there for us, nothing more, nothing less. Everyone's invited to the barbecue with respect, with love, appreciation, and don't forget that we are all human, having a human experience, and a bunch of crayons fighting is annoying. It's not good for no one. Earth is supposed to be heaven on earth. Let's do that. Let's activate that. Let's be that. Okay?
Yeah.
Big energy. Hit that movie, Johnny.
Everyone?
Hit the lights.
Like Sashima, home at 7. Back in August 2014, I can remember like yesterday, came home from college, just had to die in the car. My family was excited, the first person in my household with a college degree. And I can remember just struggling, I was struggling to get a job, I sacrificed 2 years in college to come home to not be able to find work. My son was born, all we had, a firstborn daughter, and it was rough for a long time. And I didn't know what I didn't know what to do. I didn't have any answers, and I sacrificed, leaving my daughter in Delaware to make a better life for myself. And I didn't want to like yesterday. I'm in the middle with my friends. We shooting dice, summertime, and back and everybody playing, and my small son, it was late, being around the wrong area, the wrong people, all parts of my life, fighting for walking in, talking in, I lost everything. That one thing that I want, it took me, it took everything from. Like I said, I lost everything, my reputation, my family, I lost my kids, I lost everything that I felt that I had taken. We was on the road, the whole road, I was hospitalized, I had kidney damage, had a really deep spiritual awakening. where that spiritual awakening forced me to become a deeper version of myself, which we all know as suddenly. During that process, I really got deeper into myself. I got deeper into just who I was. But it was a journey. Um, During that time, I was diagnosed schizophrenic bipolar, and being a black kid, coming from where I come from, my mom knew nothing about mental illness. She knew nothing about how to raise a mentally ill child. So it was rough, and I didn't know how to deal with myself. I kept having up and down schizophrenic attacks. And, one day somebody could be unhappy and be like, oh, I seem fine. And the next day, oh, he's flipping out, I'm tripping. And I believe they call that a having men episode. And during that time, I still have a photo of him. He's opened up on his ass, had a drink, everything seemed like it was taken off. And that little finger, my condition flared up, and all everything was in. I was in the streets, homeless. My mom and dad died. We started fighting more. I was in out of mental hospital, out of jail. You couldn't tell me at the age of 17 that I was gonna be locked up. And I wasn't 17, but if I can go back to 17 or 18, you couldn't tell me that I was gonna be in prison or I was gonna be mentally ill. I was gonna be a liar. Like I sacrificed everything in my life. Not to go to jail, still have to go to jail. You know, and for about 2 years, I sat in the house and went through suicidal thoughts and depression and all kinds of shit. And I never forget my mom's words. She said, "You won't make it back. I believe you, and I promise you one day you'll be a good man." At that time, I didn't believe it. I lost everything. I mean, from being one of the most brightest kids in the city to my school line making headlines and doing different things for the youth and just he's playing through all that to be in my house with practice, patting my face and just going through a whole bunch of ups and downs. I sat quiet with myself and asked myself, will I let this survive? Will it destroy it? And that's what I here. And I was very afraid of seven. I didn't know what seven meant. I didn't know what it actually was. I know my out of body experience. I kept seeing seven. I kept drawing it. And I won't move my spirit. I asked God to listen. And God knew it was seven knows completion, number of God. Seven knows that nothing is as it seems. Seven knows that reality is ultimately an illusion. Seven also is spiritual, not religious. So I took seven and I embodied it and I became seven. I really identify myself as seven and not Hashim. Hashim exists, but seven is an extension of Hashim in a sense. Art saved my life. Art was the vessel that allowed me to express myself. And totally small. Art is a real, really true freedom and release of all my thoughts, all my pain. So I took my deepest, darkest secrets. I took all my therapy and I put it to art. And art organically became my therapy. It became a place of passion. And now it's been my career for the last 4 years. My third exhibition at the Academy of Peace. And me and my friends in there, I paid a full entire space. I was so happy, I was hyped. I told everybody to see it, and of course it happened. And I really get the love and the reaction I wanted. I got to be deep depression, and one of my friends was like, yo, if you do actually, it's going to echo throughout. And they're never gonna love it if you die. And it kind of fucked with me. I was, you know what? It fucked with me. Bomb off before I die. I need my role to live. I've been doing shit. I was born in the school to fashion shows, parties, to photo line, to everything. In a city where I come from and kids are dying at my age, to not be recognized, not to, get my flowers, it hurt me. So I organically just set a state and it took off. I was in my studio one day, had about 75 pins stacked on the wall. And I was painting the pins was like red. And as I'm painting the canvas, blue together on my foot. And I was like, okay, it's awesome. So I took white and red, stirred it up, and I made pink. You know what, I'm gonna carry. I took 75 pins and and paint it all pink and spray paint it by my required and organically push it out. Took, about 100 to 175, emails that I had in my prospect list, and I did an email blast, and just pour my heart out into it, like, listen, if you love me, if you respect me, then buy me before I die. And it just happened because I didn't get it home, it wasn't in my plans, I didn't plan to do a campaign, it wasn't being a campaign, my creativity on its own kind of form, so. That's how the campaign started, and now the campaign is now being, used as a different museum in Delaware, with a lot of recognition now, it's been a blessing, like, just me being, this is saying, this is take 5 hours before I die. So, yeah.
So before I leave you all, I know that, towards the end, we wanna have questions. Ms. T, want to ask some questions now or later at the end?
Like 1 or 2.
Okay, so before I even ask questions, tomorrow I am releasing a dream project called the Big Energy Affirmation Wellness in the Box. I collaborated with a nonprofit called Network Connect from my neighborhood. And we did about 25 affirmation boxes, and inside the affirmation cards, journaling prompts. I felt led to share that with y'all. I brought the affirmation cards with me, so I don't know what they say. I created them, but I pulled random cards. It's about 21 in the deck. So I'm gonna read the affirmations to you, and then I want to hear your thoughts and questions about the film. Cool? Cool. Okay, cool. All right, so the first card we're gonna do, let's see, I'm gonna close my eyes and we'll pull randomly. First card is weird. No matter what happens today, I will stay and think positive. Wow, that hit me because going through what I go through, we gotta remain positive.
What was the card?
Yeah, I know.
That's smart.
Genius. I remove anything and everything that is keeping me from happiness in my life. Sheesh, I'm talking to myself, oh my God. Next one, misunderstood. Wisdom for today. You can love them, forgive them, want good for them, but still move on without them. Love yourself first. Wow, that speaks to a lot of different things. I think about that. I think about so much. I think about my family, my friends. I think about my community. Like this is heavy. Okay, so this is a networking net card, right? And it says, the future of Black race will not be built on what others do for us, but instead what we do for ourselves. And the back says, I love and accept myself. And then the last card is an ancestral card, which is, this is with me and my mask on, and it says, I love all dimensions of myself. I am embracing the creative flow that shows up in my life. I love myself. And that's the 4 affirmation cards. And then this is the Big Energy Genius Self-Love Checklist. It says, practice or meditate yoga. Discover a new hobby. Get a gratitude journal going. Spend less time online. Reach out to loved ones. Go for a run outside. Listen to relaxing music. Take a relaxing bath. This is a checklist that comes inside the box. The last one is the Big Energy Divine Rising Journal. Immerse yourself in the practice of focus, rising journal, a powerful tool that can positively shape your mindset and well-being. So this whole entire card breaks down your day, and you have stuff like your routine of meditating, make it big, journal, read, self-love, movement, thoughts, set your intentions for clarity and inner peace and feel the positive impact of the day. Today's affirmation, goal for the day, priority for the day. So yeah, that's that. So yeah.
What I would like to do right away, because we know that we have to leave as well too, is that can you make sure that we find out, and I know that Ms. Kiss, she has your Instagram, so find him, right, Google him, if you want to reach out to him, if you want questions, or, and, just chat with him. He'll be coming back as well too. We also have our programs. Oh, great. We also have the QRL code. So that's awesome. So if you want to connect with Seven, make sure you do it that way. You can find them on IG, right? On Instagram, Facebook, and just about every single social media, right? Platform.
So before I go, I held these because I felt connected to hold a force of ancestors with me. Because today was a lot for me to be here. But I'm here and I'm present and I got a lot to do. But I needed to hold something to remind me that I don't walk alone. So thank you for holding space for me. I appreciate y'all. At the end, I guess we'll ask questions, stuff like that. So thank you for your time.
So how's everybody doing? Great? Awesome. All right. Oh, I'm excited about this. Kerriann began her international career at 17 with a tour of the musical Godspell in Ireland, no less. After completing high school, she attended the Giuseppe Verdi Conservatory in Milan, Italy, and then received her undergraduate education at Indiana University and Mannes, the New School of Music, which is in New York City. After college, Kerriann embarked on a career that would see the young soprano take the stage at the Washington National Opera at the Kennedy Center, Wolfpack Opera, Opera Memphis, the Lyric Opera of Chicago, and even the Metropolitan Opera. She can be heard as the soprano soloist on the 2018 Naxos American Classics recording of Bernstein Song Fest, and it's available on Spotify. Right, shout out. When a mental health crisis caused her to reevaluate her priorities, Kerriann's passions turned to artist advocacy and audience empowerment. Kerriann prides herself on her ability to connect with diverse audiences. She advocates for artists and audiences, and she creates a sense of belonging in the arts community that transcends age, race, education, or socioeconomic status. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round welcome to Kerriann.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Kerriann Otanos. I am currently the Vice President of Opera Delaware here in Wilmington. Opera Delaware is America's 11th oldest opera company. The legacy of Opera Delaware is major. How many of y'all have been to an Opera Delaware production before? It's okay, keep those hands low, don't lie to me, because the truth is, I'm going to tell you about my story, but I first want to tell you that the truth is that the majority of people in this country don't experience the arts in the way that artists get to experience the arts. And so I think that it falls on us to be the advocates for the art form. So I love being people's first experience with opera because I know what my first experience was like. I know what the idea of opera was in my head before I saw how I belonged in the space. And I want to counter that entire narrative for you today. So why did I get into opera? Why opera of all things? When I was in high school, I was really like such a ham. I mean, I'm sure you can't tell by the loudness of the crowd, but like I love being the center of attention. Like, please look at me and tell me I agree. So I was always performing. But I went to public school, and as Seven was mentioning, music education, arts education, it always ends up kind of taking the back burner. And for me, it was really where I learned how to connect with people, was through the arts. It was how I learned how to communicate. So I was a big old ham and I was performing in musical theater. And in my 9th grade show, I was singing, just belting my face off. And when the chorus would come in, I would sing the high soprano part. I just like could kind of sit up there and sing high. And I didn't really understand anything about it, but this woman in the audience came up to me after. And she said, "Oh, honey, we gotta teach you about opera." And she said it like that, like not condescending, not like, "Oh, you don't know about this?" Because that's the other thing, is that classical arts have a bad reputation for being a place where it's incredibly condescending and pretentious. And it makes people feel like they don't belong. And where's my little clicker, baby? Here we go. We have a shared idea in this country of what opera is and who opera is for. We don't see ourselves reflected in opera. And I mean, 97% of people in America don't regularly attend the arts. So I'm talking Black, brown, old, young people in America do not see themselves in opera. We don't think that we belong there. And the thing about us, my friends, is that where we believe we belong is where we show up. So if I don't think that I belong there, I'm not showing up at the Opera House. And if I don't think that I belong in classical art spaces, I'm teaching my children they also don't belong in classical art spaces. This is a cycle that we create and that we can break. Woo! Okay, listen. My rule at the opera is this. You're supposed to be seen at the opera. I was seen at the opera. This woman heard me sing as a little kid, and she said, not only do you belong in opera, but you are needed here. Not only does opera have a long history of being shaped by people like you, but you are the future of this art form. Because she told me to take up space, not to blend in, because she told me that my voice mattered. It's funny that Seven kept saying big energy is his motto, because I'm gonna tell you my motto is big voice energy, okay? Listen, you can get the t-shirt, go to operadelaware.org, you can get the t-shirt. Big voice energy, and I'm all about big voice energy, because what that means, you know, opera singers, we don't use these. We don't use microphones when we perform. It's all in your body. Your whole instrument is your body. And so that big voice energy means that not only do I have the power to say what I need to say, but I have something to say. I have something important to say. Artists have something important to say. So a bit about my little cute journey. This is a bit of my performing career. After I graduated high school and I got to start performing and living in Italy and then touring all over the US, I got to meet my husbands. I got to meet my best friends. I got to meet people who had all different walks of life and all different experiences, but we were all brought together by the fact that through the arts, we had something to say and we had something that we wanted to represent to our communities. The problem that I see in opera is that what other art form, what other career can you think of other than being an artist that is immediately associated with suffering and starving and struggling? It's the only art form that we say, oh, she's a starving artist. Oh, oh, they suffer to make their art. It is the mental health issues that Seven was talking about is so tied into all the performing arts. And opera singers are not immune to this. We move from city to city. We bounce around the country, living out of a suitcase, telling these stories that are intended to be incredibly cathartic and meaningful and moving for you. And then we go and we sit in a hotel room by ourselves and we don't see our mom for 6 months and we're not connected to our communities. This, for me, is the fundamental problem of why opera is on the decline in the United States. It's not because the talent isn't there. It's not because the curiosity isn't there. It's because the connection is not being made. Artists need to be the advocates in the community. I needed that woman to come into my life and say, you belong in this space. That's what artists need to be doing. Oh my God, I feel like spicy. I got spicy about this. Because here's the thing. Joyful advocacy, which is, I think, what I try to represent for this art form. Joyful advocacy unlocks curiosity. 97% of people in this country don't regularly attend opera. So that means 97% of people in this country have the same questions about opera. They have the same concerns that make it feel like this is not a place where I belong. It's funny. It's funny to look at these questions because these are the questions that my dad asked me before we started coming to the opera. Now, my dad, this man grew up in foster care in New York, one of 29 kids. He has had a life, okay? Love him. But he was like, opera, I assure you, is not for me. They don't want me there. I said, so let's talk about this. He said, I don't know what I'm supposed to wear. You want me in a tuxedo? I'm gonna be so uncomfortable. I'm not gonna feel like myself. I said, no. When you go to the opera, okay, when you go to theater, that is something special. That is something special for you, just as it is something special for the artist on stage. You are the star of the show that night as much as the artist on stage. So I say, what are you gonna wear to the opera? You wear what makes you feel dope. You wear what you wanna be seen in. You wear what you're proud of. And you pose and you take tons of pictures. That's why at Opera Delaware, and I'm telling y'all, I wanna be your first experience with the opera. Don't mess with the Met. Don't go to these other places. Come to me because I do it right, okay? We roll out a red carpet runway. We have professional photographers. The paparazzi are there to capture the pictures of you. I want you wearing that thing that's been hanging in the back of your closet that you said, oh, he never takes me out anymore. I want you deserve experiences like that. We can manufacture experiences like that in our community. It is special to get to watch 200 people make art for you live. Turn up, wear something dope. Okay. How will I understand the story if it's in a foreign language? A lot of opera is in Italian, in French, in German. Opera is not something that was written 400 years ago and then stopped existing. There are operas being written today. There are operas in English, in Spanish. There are operas in Mandarin. There are operas that are hip operas. There are operas that are mariachi operas. Opera is alive and continues to change and grow because artists and audiences demand it, because we call for it. So how will you understand the story if it's in a foreign language? Well, there are more options than you might realize, but one of the things that is consistent in opera companies is that we always have English translations projected above the stage. Okay, we call them super titles. So you know, like subtitles when you're watching something on Netflix, you have the text underneath English translations. These are above. Whatever language it's in, you're gonna be able to read along the story. You're gonna be able to read the story in the program before it even begins. We give you these kind of guideposts because what you should be able to do is just feel the story. That's our job as artists, is to tell you that story, is to act it in a way that all the things that we're putting together, from the costumes to the set pieces to how we're telling the story, is all to make you understand it better. So we have translations the whole time. How am I supposed to act at the opera? I get this all of the time. And I'm gonna tell you why. This is one of them. Listen, let's have a little song first, okay. You might not believe that I was an opera singer, but I really was. Before I tell you this story that's gonna make me angry, and one of the reasons why I decided that opera needs to change and we need to be the ones to change it, I want you to just hear me sing something pretty so you can remember that I'm a nice, sweet girl with a lovely demeanor. She's sweet, she's kind, okay. This is a little bit from Carmen. Okay, this opera is in French. There is Carmen, the hip opera that our girl Beyonce gave us in 2001. I know you remember some of my old ones. I know you remember. Okay, so we got Carmen, the hip opera. It tells the story of Carmen transported into a new world. You get the gist of the story from it, but this aria, chances are probably good that you've heard it before. Okay. You know it. Okay, a duet next time. Next time we do a duet. L'amour, l'amour est enfant du bohème, il n'a jamais connu de loi. Si tu ne m'aimes pas, je t'aime. Si je me regarde à toi, mais si je t'aime, mais si je t'aime pas, je t'aime. Mais si je t'aime, si je t'aime. Just a little taste, just like Simon said, just a little that. A little under the smooch of opera, okay? Favorite dish. Yes, just a little bit of that, okay. So I fell in love with opera because there's so many stories in it that you can discover as a performer, right? I'm singing something that was written hundreds of years ago in French by people that I could never meet. And these stories are still relevant today. This character that I'm singing as Carmen, she is alive because artists bring her to life. So when we're looking at this question, how am I supposed to act at the opera? You're supposed to be present. You're supposed to be present at the opera. And what I mean when I say that is, there's an idea that when you attend the opera, you're supposed to wait for someone to tell you that it's okay to cry. There's a lot of tension in the opera house that people don't know how they're supposed to react. And I've experienced this myself. I was seeing an opera and it was a comedy. We do comedies too, okay? It's not always that somebody dies. Most of the time somebody dies in it, but usually it's a comedy, we got a comedy. Now and again, we got a comedy. And I was laughing and I'm saying bravo and I'm cheering for my friends on stage. And this little old lady in the audience is turning and giving me dirty looks. And she like turns forward in her seat and looks at me and I'm looking at her. Okay? And listen, one thing about me that y'all should know, I don't know if you could tell from the jacket, I am not shy. But I said, okay, this is an opportunity because if this happens to someone else, if this happened to someone who's their first time at the opera house and someone is turning and giving you a look like that, you're never coming back. And I will not abide. I will not stand for that. That's not what I believe in. So I went up to this woman at intermission. This is right here at Opera Delaware, babies. This is what this is what I do. This is my job. I went up to this woman, I said, hi, I'm Kerriann, I'm vice president of engagement, so nice to meet you. I noticed that my enthusiasm might be distracting you a little bit. So you be just like a little charming, give them like a little sweetness. I said, I would love to offer you better seats closer to the stage. Okay, but also, I want you to know why we react the way that we do, and I want y'all to know it too. We react the way that we do because what these artists are doing is incredibly brave and vulnerable. We react the way we do because that's what we owe them. It's how we show them our respect and our gratitude and our appreciation. That's what applause is. That's why we do it. We don't do it to show that we know when the aria is over. We do it to say thank you. Okay? That's fundamentally what we do at Opera Delaware that is different than other places. And this woman said to me, wait. I thought that you show your respect at the opera by being silent. That's what I was taught. No one is the bad guy in this scenario. She thought that she was acting in a way that was being respectful of the artist, just as I did. But this is the thing about the arts is we have to have these hard conversations with each other. We gotta say stop, because she wasn't trying to be disrespectful. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. We were misinterpreting each other, both trying to honor these artists. So I say this to say, there is no right way to act in the opera. You're supposed to be present. You're supposed to be anticipating. If you hear something amazing, you're supposed to cheer. If you see something funny, you're supposed to laugh. You're supposed to react. You're supposed to be authentic because the artists want to hear you. I want to leave you with an example. So this is my friend Babatunde. Bobby and I did operas out in California together. And he would drive around, he would put on trap beats and he would sing arias over them. And he went viral doing this and created an album and now has gotten to tour all over the world with it, because this is my point. Opera is not something that was written a couple hundred years ago and then stopped. Opera is alive. All the arts are alive because artists keep being creative and innovative and finding new ways to tell these stories. So I want to hear a little bit about how this just started in his car, driving around being creative. And then I would love for you to go home and look up on Spotify and hear where he is now and how far he's come with this. Let's give a little bit. What I love about that and what I really want to encourage in all of you tonight is curiosity. It's curiosity about all the arts, and it's curiosity about the arts that are happening in your own community. Now, a lot of people think that they have to leave Delaware, they got to go to Philly or New York or DC to experience art. A lot of people in Delaware think of Delaware as a drive-through state, and I want you to think of Delaware as a destination, okay? So, coming up next month, we have a Divine Night in Delaware. This event, I'm very excited. This event was inspired because I was approached by the National Panhellenic Council, by the Divine Nine, about curating events that would welcome them to take ownership of the arts in classical spaces. So this performance starts with red carpet runway, starts with our paparazzi, a spread of Italian food, champagne, a lovely little reception party beforehand. And then we go into the theater at the Grand and we see opera, ballet, hip hop, spoken word. We're doing genre blending performances that are having our artists collaborate across genres. Okay, this is what Delaware can be if you invest in it. And this is, now it's going to sound like a little bit of my pitch, but my pitch is this: take pride in where you're from. Take pride in what you have here in Delaware and support it and attend and be a part of it and talk to people about it. And get away from this mindset that we have, that's that 97%, that opera is not for me. Opera is for us if we believe we belong there. Okay, thank y'all so much.
I'm a fan. Okay, so I know we had questions on the agenda for tonight on the program. I do want to respect everyone's time. Valerie, do you still think we have time for questions? Okay, so, I know Seven is still here, so, if there were questions for him, they can be addressed now, but I believe we can take just a couple, so we can round this off in one thing. I'm not gonna say 5 minutes, in 3 minutes. So we wanna come, well, I can bring the mic to you.
Do you have programs for children? Yes, that's such a great question. So one of the things that Opera Delaware does is we do pop-up opera. Pop-up opera started during the pandemic, but we have a mobile opera stage. We go across the whole state and we do these programs that are like fun and accessible hour-long introductions to opera. So pop-up opera is like a major program for that. We also do like studio series and more intimate performances in the Opera Delaware studios. And sometimes there are operas that are specifically for kids, but my favorite thing to do is start with new families with kids with pop-up opera. It's really accessible and approachable and like low pressure. Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Is hip opera like an official style / genre of music I can listen to anywhere if I kind of want to add to the playlist?
Yes. Babatunde Akinboboye, you look him up online, hip opera. He has an album called De La Chica. It's 4 tracks, but he's putting out a second one. Also, part of this Divine Nine event that we're doing. Who knows Richard Raw? And we know the rapper Richard Rollo, he's an activist, he's an artist, he is like such an advocate for this community. He put together a song and then I'm singing opera on it, so we're doing our own brand of hip opera right here in Delaware, that we're launching it ourselves. So it's becoming a genre because that's how art works, artists make it happen, right?
I wanted, hi, this is for Sutton, so I wanted to acknowledge your vulnerability and the video that you put out. Without getting too deep, you got me crying over here for many reasons, so I just want to appreciate the fact that you stepped out of your darkness, you found your light. So,
Thank you. I got a question for you. What part made you cry and why?
why did you ask that?
Devon,
Because I just lost my brother. So,
Yeah.
because he was in a very dark place, darker than I thought. He was in prison, and they found him in his cell.
how are you working through that?
You see this? Yeah, I mean, we just honored him last week, and we focused on who he was as a man and less about what he did.
Yeah.
But, he, like you, he unfortunately got a hold of some really bad stuff in prison.
You mean like he was getting high and things like that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, and you know, that's all synthetic
yeah.
and other stuff, but, yeah, that's why.
Mhm.
It just really hit me, and the more that I learned about where he was and what his whole mental illness was with respect to just realizing he wasn't gonna get out,
Yeah,
it just took over. And so I know that a lot of our, you know, fellow sisters and brothers just don't get to find that light, and so I'm just really happy. It makes me happy when other people are able to find that light.
well, I give thanks for your testimony because, I didn't ask for this. I was chosen for it. I was initiated to it. And I keep asking to tap out. I don't want it sometimes. It's too much pressure. It's too many questions, too much judgment. And people are fake. And I'm on a cusp of breaking point right now. And my breaking point at 32 is I'm an alien, I'm foreign to this place. I'm a being of love, creativity, and healing, right? And so deal with the reality that I've been dealing with. It does not make logical sense for Kerriann to still be fighting. I'm still bothered by that. Redlining, prison. I mean, it's a long list I can go on, but I'll say this. I am projecting to live in a world that does not judge me for my skin, does not judge me for my boldness. And if I am held accountable for something I did, really put in tools to rehabilitate, to put someone in a sardine can for decades, for years, it's nothing more than modern day slavery. There's no schools in prison, there's no arts in prison, there's no yoga. What we doing? And then in the same breath, if the opposite crowd gets locked up, they get bailed out quick and you know their charges. I'm irritated. I got families and generations, buried kids, and who got time for that? And at some point, Tupac said to me in a dream, he said, I said, Pop, can I ask you a question? He said, "Hey, go ahead." I said, what do you believe is going to be the next energy for my generation? He said, I think that America think we playing, that we gonna keep grasping about the stories, and the next thing is gonna be murder. He said, these kids growing up, they don't know nothing about stability and principles more than about, they talking about murder. And I ain't talking about murder in the sense of this innocent killing. When you starve a community for decades, generations, at some point, the trauma is so heavy, it's gonna pop. And no one will be able to control it. No one, because there's no forgiveness, there's no nothing. It takes, now leave me here, I'm gonna land my point. It took George Floyd to get killed on camera for him to say he exists. A black man calling for his mom. It took them to say Zinnerman did not do anything with Trayvon Martin. Like, the list is long, even in until, I can go on and on and on, neither here or there. That's my breaking point. I'm supposed to walk around happy to get scraps. So I understand what you're going through, and I am sending love, peace, and healing energy to you, and I pray that the Most High use you as a vessel to not only tell your story, but to help heal others. Because at this point, that's all Earth is about to be, is a melting pot of healing. And if it's not that, it's going to get wicked around here, and we already seen it. So I appreciate you. Thank you for that.
I have one more question. And this is for the two of you. What is the most rewarding project that you've been working on individually?
Yeah, one.
I don't know what you mean by reward. Define that word.
Impactful. Remember. Healing.
I'll say that for me, I'm still processing success. In the same breath of me doing a mural for Joe Biden, the same president told me he don't like black people. And it was a beautiful like mural and opportunity, but my mom's still working and my kids don't own houses yet. I don't have wealth, right? So in the hee ha ha Joe Biden mural, it was cute. I'm still processing the room of ghosts and people smiling at me, but don't look at me. When I walked in, I almost couldn't get in. But I had a turban on, had African garments. They said, "You're not supposed to be here." I said, "I'm the mural." "Oh, Seven, come on and film." Oh, we're sorry. I bet you are. And then Joe Biden even said, "Take a picture with me. Let's mess your career up." That's supposed to be funny. The most rewarding thing I believe that I do on the daily is work with children. I don't know what it is about me in a room with like children in my community, but it's liberating for me. It's like a breath of fresh air because they're so pure and young that their minds can't contain it until adults take it. So I don't have one. I have 7 years of doing healing work with Black men, Black women, children, and even other ethnic groups that I never thought I would get to speak to. Being in a room full of other ethnic groups and genders, like, blew my mind. So to me, that is the Most High giving me a token. I don't find pleasure in the things that other people do. I'm not materialistic. So in my reward, it's being able to see that heaven and earth is going to be built, whether people want it or not. You know, I feel like that the next decades we're going to be a beautiful place, but throughout the always there's yin and yang. So there's going to be negative and positive. So my most rewarding thing is work with the community and children. So yeah.
I would think about that in a way, because during the pandemic, I mean, opera is this analog art form. The point of opera is that we don't use microphones, we don't use anything that's like connecting us. We turn off our phones, right? It's like, hey, I love that for me. No, that was perfect. We planned that. We worked on that. I love that. So during the pandemic, when all these artists were out of work, we couldn't do anything. And we can't like give our art in the way that we want to. So my most rewarding project that I was a part of was also really inspiring. It showed me that I and that the other singers that I know are more than just our voices. We have so much innovation and creativity to share, and that's why we have to be the ambassadors. So as I was mentioning, during dinner, I made a 30-minute version of Mozart's The Magic Flute. I made it on green screen with opera singers. I have English and Spanish narration for it. We made a teaching guide with it so that it could be used in the school system. And it was a whole bunch of singers coming together and saying, this is how I want to talk to my community. It was a Mexican opera singer saying, I want to make sure that this is going to be picked up in the Spanish language schools as well. It's us advocating for it, and leading a project like that really showed me that singers have so much more to offer, artists have so much more to offer, and, you know, we're more powerful than we realize. Yeah.
Got one question for y'all though. Any advice for us moving forward on our journeys? Anything that y'all want to say or even ask or anything? Go ahead.
For you, I would honestly say, try your best to block out the world. I did something with myself, I created Erica Lane, and I'm the happiest there.
Say it again. What's it
I
called?
created Erica Lane, and
I love that.
I created Erica Lane, and I'm the happiest.
Okay.
Because nobody else can come into the street, to your peace, to your place.
Okay.
Do anything to harm, hurt, or just take away from you. Be there for a second, be there for days.
I appreciate that. I'm gonna do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Your energy is amazing.
Oh, thank you so much.
So definitely turn the hearts around.
Thank you. I have flyers for this Divine Nine Micro Gala. I would love to share with you. March 28th. I'm giving you all flyers on the way out.
Oh. That's thank you all you guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's a
So
pleasure.
before we leave, I want to say thank you most especially to our speaker, Devin. And Kerriann, thank you very much. Today that made this possible, so just wanted to give my thanks to Chris, who is our middle school and upper school arts director. She was the one who helped our students, you know, make the murals outside, as well as the pop-up artists as well. So thank you very much. The head of school and to Dr. Natasha Everett Murray, who is our head of social justice. She kind of holds us and rallies us around in terms of what we need to do and what we should be doing, so thank you. Tiago, who is our lower school and middle school theater head, so thank you for that. That she has done, and I encourage all of us to attend. And then, you know, our jazz ensemble in here, but I want to say thank you to them as well for that wonderful live. I also want to thank Distinct, who is our partner in diversity. I know we have one, I know one of our co-chairs is here. And for home and school for pulling us all together and making sure that we stay on the straight and narrow. So we want to have here. She's the head of home and school. Various Tower Hill administration and staff. So thank you for being here and. I know we have some wonderful news, but I think he has gone, but you know, want to say thank you to him. And he is, I don't think we're doing anything for our student volunteers and all the students who showed up. Thank you. And for our, so for our PATH family and the community for showing up today. You're the ones who make this relevant. You're the ones, the reasons why we do this. And just, you know, educating our community about who Tower Hill is and making Tower Hill a much more inclusive and diverse community. So thank you very much for that. I hope everybody has a wonderful night tonight. Oh, one last group of people, our student volunteers. So thank you for showing up. This marks the end of this evening's activities. We look forward to, you know, spending time with you and looking forward to next year. Good night.